We can go now on the programme to Berlin. Our correspondent Nick Spicer is standing by for us there. Nick, first of all, tell us, German newspapers, how are they viewing the election today?
They all seem to be reaching for the expression, we're breathing a sigh of relief. So this is the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, which is from the business capital of Germany, which says Merkel's, forgive me, I'm jumping back a chancellor. Macron's win is a win for Germany as well. It's impossible not to move forward in Europe without the French, and it's important to be able to stand up for Ukraine with the French, for Olaf Scholz, the German chancellor, to be able to have a partner in Paris who does that. And the newspaper in an editorial salutes the way he campaigned, saying that he didn't bash Brussels to get elected, as is the way many leaders in Europe seem to be getting elected, particularly facing off against the extreme right and populists. He actually praised Europe and said we needed more Europe. I'll just show you another newspaper here. The Berliner Morgenpost, which is a daily local, says that there's relief once again in Germany and Europe, and they quote the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who thanks French voters. And it's worth noting that Scholz did something pretty unusual this time around. Between the first and second rounds of the French election, he got involved in the election to an extent, signing an editorial with the leaders of Portugal and Spain, calling on French voters to vote for democracy and to vote against extremism without naming Macron and Le Pen. It was pretty clear that he was taking sides, taking the risk of being seen as getting involved. The editorial also says, however, that France remains split and that Germany needs to be more welcoming and more receptive to the French ideas, the ideas coming from Emmanuel Macron, because he wasn't always listened to under Angela Merkel, the previous chancellor here. And finally, the Tagesspiegel, also from Berlin, Macron has won. Marine Le Pen, however, says she has won as well, so underlining the dangers there upcoming in June in the legislative elections. So saluting Macron's win, which is pretty much the position of all the German newspapers here, but saying the battle is far from over and there's a lot of work ahead.
And Nick, we are expecting Emmanuel Macron to make one of his first, if not his first trip since following re-election to Berlin. I suppose that an indication of how important the Franco-German relationship is to the president.
It's the Franco-German motor that we always hear about that drives Europe forward because of their population, because of their geography, the size of their economies. If Germany and France can get together and come up with a solution, the rest of Europe is likely to follow. The example of their getting over their enmity after 3 wars from 1870, World War I, World War II is also a thing that brings people forward. Personal relationship between Scholz and Macron was forged when Scholz was finance minister during the coronavirus pandemic. They agreed on a $700 billion kickstart fund to get the European economies going and overcoming the German reticence to see the European Union get in debt itself to do anything. So that was breaking a big taboo. And another big taboo for Germany, along with its relationship with Macron, was basically a 180-degree turn on foreign policy and defense policy because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, with Olaf Scholz making a speech in the Bundestag behind me saying, we're going to hit that 2% target at NATO spending. I'm going to spend 100 billion euros on rearming the armed forces here because Germany needs to be able to flex its muscles. And this is something that Emmanuel Macron has been calling for years, strategic autonomy. So they agree on a lot of things. Those are the big things that they agree on. Things to watch out for that they don't agree on are whether or not Russian gas and oil should be turned off immediately. That is really a big thing. And to what extent heavy weapons should be sent to Ukraine. There's a lot of pressure for Germany to send some of its excellent tanks to Ukraine, and there's a lot of reluctance for that to be happening here in Berlin.
Nick Spicer in Berlin.